just so you know. Yeah, we can get started on your mat. If you have the playlist up, hitting play at any time. I'm just gonna mute you guys to make sure that.
I think
someone trying to say something.
I wondered why my picture isn't there. I don't see myself, but you see me. Do you see me?
No.
Go down to the bottom left corner, Martha, and see if there's a little camera.
All right. But let us proceed, because the most important thing is I see you.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I'm going to mute you guys and get started.
Okay. We'll talk to you after.
So as you get settled into the space, we're going to start in a supported Baddha-Konasana. So a reclined bound angle or butterfly position. So supporting your knees on blocks or blankets or pillows, whatever feels good to you, and coming to lie down on your back. Letting your knees fall open, feet come together. Allow your shoulder blades to scoop up and under your back as you relax back down into the floor. And here, just starting to turn your attention towards your breath. Taking long, smooth inhales and long, smooth exhales. If this pose doesn't feel awesome for you today, maybe coming into a different reclined pose, such as Shavasana or reconstructed rest, either extending legs straight out, knocking knees together and taking feet wide to the edges of your mat, or using props in any way that would feel supportive to you tonight. If you feel ready, on an exhale, allowing your eyes to flutter closed. As you're deepening your breath, thinking of taking it in 3 parts, first filling your belly, then lower ribs, and upper ribs, and then as you exhale, emptying upper ribs, lower ribs, and belly, contracting slight Uddiyana Bandha, hugging navel to spine at the bottom to sip out all the last air. And then repeating that from the bottom up, inhaling into your belly, low ribs, upper ribs, and exhaling from your upper ribs, lower ribs, and belly. I want to invite you to keep this breath pattern nice and full and deep throughout the practice, allowing it to carry you through any poses and to give you something to focus on. Take a moment here in this pose to check in with your physical body tonight. Notice any areas of tension or ease, comfort or discomfort. And with each exhale, maybe try and relax a little bit more. Also checking in with the quality of your thoughts. Considering if you're feeling particularly energetic and skittish tonight, or calm and sluggish. And maybe if you'd like to slow down a little bit more, putting more emphasis on your exhale. And if you'd like to speed up a bit, putting more emphasis on your inhale. I recommend for this class, maintaining more emphasis on your exhale to really find relaxation throughout this practice. And finally, taking note of what you perceive to be your emotional and energetic body. Asking yourself how you feel in this present moment. Noticing what you've brought with you onto your mat today. When you're ready, taking one big inhale through your nose. And a deep exhale through your mouth. You're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like, but if you'd like to come with me, fluttering eyes open, use your hands to pull your legs back up so knees point up towards the sky. Take a moment to move any props out of the way. Feel your feet planted firmly on the ground. And when you're ready, pulling right knee into your chest, giving it a little squeeze. Maybe bringing some movement into your hips, starting to lubricate the joint. And if you'd like to take 3 circles with your ankle in one direction, and eventually 3 circles in the other direction. And maybe taking now circles with your hip in one direction. Trying to root your left hip down into the ground as you're moving your right leg, and eventually reversing that movement into the other direction. Eventually finding stillness, hugging your knee into your chest one more time. If you have a strap, finding that. If not, you can find hands anywhere to the back of your right hand, extending your leg up towards the sky into a hamstring stretch. If you have a strap, finding it at the ball of your foot. Both hands are on the strap as you give gentle resistance to the stretch. Wherever you are, pressing into either hands or the strap to activate the stretch, thinking of keeping a micro bend in your right knee. Breath is flowing, nice and long. Option to keep your left knee bent or to extend it long down your mat, energizing through the bottom of your foot. You want a little bit more stretch here. Keeping resistance into the strap or your hands. You take one more inhale, and on your exhale, bring both pieces of the strap into your right hand and open your leg out to the side. Keeping left hip rooted down into the mat. Only going as far as is comfortable. Seeing if you find any sensation on the inside of your leg. Still keeping an active leg. Extending energy out through your heel and up. You find ease in this posture. Eventually on an inhale, bringing leg up through center, switching the strap into your left hand and gently carrying it over to the left side of your body. This might only go a few inches. This can be a pretty intense binding sensation in the outside of your right leg. And on an inhale, bring back up through center. Release the strap from your foot. You can let that go for now. Bending your knee again. Now crossing right ankle over left knee. Take a moment here to press your right knee out, opening your right hip. Option to stay here, or to pull your left knee in towards your chest for a figure four stretch. Wherever you are, finding some resistance, pressing right leg into left knee, activating the stretch. Notice how your breath changes as you go into different movements. You can send it into different parts of your body, finding more space or relaxation. We'll stay here for one more inhale, and on an exhale, release your left foot down to the mat. Bring both knees into your chest now, give them both a squeeze. Maybe rocking back and forth on your mat, finding a little bit of movement here. When you're ready, bringing both hands down by your sides, shift your hips an inch or two to the right and allow your legs to release over to the left side of your mat. Arms can come out to a T or goal posted. As you find a twist here. This is too much right now. Maybe bringing your legs up onto a block or bolster. Maybe bringing a blanket in between your legs. Or taking any other variations that would feel good to you in this moment. Allow your right shoulder to melt towards the floor. How does this twist change the feeling of the breath in your body? As you're filling your belly and ribs, where do you now feel the breath differently than in a neutral spine? Can you find more breath anywhere? When you're ready, turning your gaze back up towards the sky, pull your knees tightly in towards your chest as you slowly roll back onto your back. Feet can come back to the floor, knees pointing up toward the sky. Realign your hips into neutral, and eventually bringing your left knee into your chest and giving it a squeeze. Finding any movement of this hip that feels good. And eventually maybe taking some circles of your ankle in one direction. And 3 circles in the other direction. You feel complete there, maybe taking some big circles of your hip. As if you're drawing a circle with your knee. Starting to try and move with the breath here a little bit. And eventually finding stillness with your knee hugging into your chest. Go ahead and reach for that strap again as you take the same thing on the left side. Finding a strap into the ball of your foot. You kick your foot out, finding both hands on either side of the strap. Option to keep your right leg bent or to extend it long, sending energy out through the bottom of your foot. Wherever you are, pressing into the strap or into your hands for a little bit of a resistant stretch. keeping a micro bend in your knee. You relax your ankle anymore in this pose. You relax your hip. You maintain some tension pressing into the strap. Eventually taking one more inhale here. On an exhale, bringing both ends of the strap into your left hand and opening your foot to the left side of your mat. Maybe placing your right hand onto your right hip bone, encouraging it down towards the mat. As you release into this open pose, only releasing your left leg down to the mat as far as it feels comfortable. Maybe supporting it with a bolster or blocks if that feels good to you. Eventually, an inhale takes you back up through center, and an exhale, you switch the strap into your other hand and move your foot a couple inches over towards the right side of your body. Again, you won't be able to open your leg nearly as far to this direction, and only going as far as you feel comfortable, keeping your left hip rooted onto the ground. Feeling the sensation of this pose, the outside of your leg. Staying here for one more breath. And on your next inhale, coming back up to neutral, release the strap from your foot and let it go. Now crossing left ankle over right knee, take a moment here to press open your right hip, your left knee. And if you'd like to hug right knee into chest, finding figure 4 stretch, keep energy through your left foot to protect your ankle. Wherever you are, pressing your left leg into your right knee to find an active stretch. Maybe shifting back and forth a little bit from right to left to find a sweet spot here. And remembering to stay with the breath. Taking one more inhale here, and on an exhale, release your right leg back down to the ground. Both knees pointing up toward the sky. Come to bring both knees into your chest. Give them a squeeze, maybe rocking back and forth and up and down your mat. And eventually shifting your hips 1 or 2 inches to the left and releasing your knees over to the right side of your body for a reclined spinal twist. Only once your legs have finished moving, maybe your gaze shifts over your left hand. Left shoulder melts towards the floor. Can you relax any more into this pose? When you're ready, gaze shifts back up to the sky. Hug your knees close into your chest as you slowly roll back onto your back. Give your knees a hug into your chest, rolling up and down, side to side along your spine. And when you're ready, you can release your feet to the ground, roll onto your left side, and slowly press up into your seated pose. Eventually coming up over your ankles, finding tabletop pose with the wrists under shoulders and knees under hips. We're going to take a few breaths for some movement of the spine. If you'd like to take cat and cow, releasing your belly to the earth, opening through your chest, gaze shifts up. Exhale to press the floor away, rounding through your back from tailbone to crown of head. Inhale to cow, arching through your back, biceps rotating forward as if you're hugging elbows into the sides of your body. Exhale, pressing the floor away into cat pose. Moving through that a few more times to your own breath pace, maybe taking some C shapes on an exhale, looking over your right shoulder towards your right hip as you pull the two together. Inhale back through center and taking the same thing, looking over your left shoulder towards your left hip, pulling the two together, moving through that with your breath, or taking any other movement of the spine here that feels good in your body. When you're ready, finding this moment of stillness in a neutral tabletop. Come up onto tented fingertips and take a step of your right leg in between your hands. Option to pad your back knee with a blanket here. Make this a little bit more comfortable, coming into a knee down lunge. I'd offer you to take 2 blocks under your hands, rolling your shoulders open to find a bit more length in this pose. Pressing your back foot down into the mat. And an active stretch. See if you can direct breath into the places that you feel sensation here. Maybe gaze shift slightly up, but not overdoing the back bend. Seeking length. Take one more inhale and an exhale, shift back into Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. Right leg is straight, maybe hands are still on blocks. Maybe you release them to a lower height or down to the floor, coming down onto your hands. And weight into your hands and to your feet. Pressing your heel down into the floor as if trying to bend your knee. You find even hips here. Think of trying to lengthen your spine instead of rolling over your leg. Finding as much length from the tailbone to the crown of your head as you can. And again, thinking of how you can send more breath into this pose. If Hanumanasana or full split is part of your practice and you feel warm enough to go there, option to take that carefully now. If not, stay in half split, actively pressing through right heel. Keeping hips even wherever you are. Go ahead and take one more inhale, and on your exhale, shift back forward into a knee down lunge, hip flexor stretch. Maybe coming back up to blocks under both hands. Maybe releasing your right hand from the block, bringing it to your chest. Take a twist and open it back behind you. If you want more, maybe you bend your left knee as if pointing toward your hand. And if it's accessible to you, maybe your left foot comes to your right hand. Your right hand is on the outside of your foot, finding a stretch in your quad. If you're there, pressing into your hand actively. Wherever you are, finding a little bit of resistance in your quad and hip flexor. For one more inhale and an exhale to release down to the floor, release blocks, hands beneath the mat, and you step right foot back into tabletop pose. Take a moment here to take any more movement of the spine or your hips that feels good. Notice any difference between right and left side body. Eventually come to step left foot in between your hands, coming up again to blocks if you'd like. Roll up in your shoulders into this knee down lunge. You pull your left hip back and press your right hip forward. As you find length up through your head, rooting down through your hands on the block, pressing into your back foot to find some activity in the stretch. Maybe gaze lifts up slightly. Staying here for one more breath. Inhale, shift back into Ardha Hanumanasana, half split, straightening left leg, pressing left heel into the ground. Maybe your hands stay on blocks or come down to a lower height on the blocks or the mat. Finding length in your spine from your tailbone all the way to the crown of your head. Pressing a little bit into your right foot to level off your hips. Still thinking of pulling left hip back, pressing right hip forward. If Hanumanasana or full split is in your practice, again, option to take that only if you feel ready and warm enough. Wherever you are, thinking of opening your chest, extending that forward, not rounding forward in your back. Allowing the breath to sink deeper into the movement. Eventually taking one more inhale. And on an exhale, coming back to a knee down lunge. Maybe hands come back to blocks. Roll open your shoulders. Find some space in your chest. Maybe taking the left arm to heart center and opening it to the back of the space in a twist. From here, maybe you bend the right knee as if reaching towards left hand. If it's accessible to you, maybe finding right foot into left hand. With your hand on the outside of your foot, thumb is pointing up to open your chest. If you're there, pressing into the hand actively with your foot. Maintaining stability in your pelvis and hips even. Wherever you are, can you press into that back foot a little bit more, activating the stretch a bit more, and Think of squaring off your hips even more. Despite the twist, your hips are dialing back towards the front of your mat.
Actually,
And an exhale to release your foot back to the ground.
finding yourself back into a runner's lunge. Go ahead and step your left foot back into a tabletop pose. If you can't hear me anymore, go ahead and yell, my earbuds just died. But eventually coming to find a tabletop pose. And when you're ready, go ahead and sit back onto your hips. Swing your legs around to a seated position. We're going to take now a seated Baddha Konasana, or Y round angle, or butterfly, is often called pose. Again, option to put blocks under your knees here, or to just allow them to fall down to the earth. Trying to find length in your spine, pulling up here. Heels coming as close to your body as possible for one option, or for another option in Tirasana, opening them a little bit further away from our body, finding wherever feels good to you. Option to sit up on a block, blanket, or pillow to find some more space in your hip flexors. And when you're ready, walk your left fingers out to the side of your mat. Now on an inhale, extend right fingers up overhead for a side body stretch here. If you feel weight starting to shift out of your right sit bone, energetically drive it back into the ground. Open your ribs. Dial pinky finger down towards the mat. Gaze maybe looks up to your arm. If it's more comfortable on your neck, maybe gaze shifts down to the mat. Wherever you are, can you find a little bit more length in both sides of your body, not collapsing into left side body. And eventually releasing the left arm down and coming back up through neutral. Now walking right hand out to the side of your mat. Inhale your left arm up overhead. Again, when you feel weight coming out of your left hip, energetically driving it back down towards the earth, extending up through fingertips. Opening your chest, dialing pinky finger back down to the earth. Maybe your gaze shifts up, maybe your gaze looks down to release your neck, or anywhere in between. Be finding a slight bend in your right elbow, but not so that you're collapsing in on your right side, finding still length there. Eventually taking one more inhale, and on an exhale, coming back up through center. Find a neutral spine, both hips in the ground. And when you're ready, start to walk both fingers out in front of you, only to as far as you can come comfortably without rounding your back. Feel your hips opening here. Find even more length in your back. Dialing your chest open as if you're thinking cobra in your back. And eventually, on an exhale, releasing down to elbows or blocks, or maybe your head comes to a block or the floor. Just rounding your back and finding any variation of this pose that feels good in your body. In this folded position, can you send any more breath into your back body, into your lower back, mid back, or upper back? Trying to find release here. And eventually bringing weight back into your hands as you slowly come back up to a seated pose. We're now going to take Upavista Konasana, which is a wide angle pose, extending both legs out, thinking a wide-legged forward fold or straddle split, taking your legs only as far as you feel comfortable. You're going to take the same kind of sequence here, walking left fingers out to the left side of your body. You can inhale of your right arm up overhead. You feel weight coming out of right sit bone, drive it back down into the floor. Staying here with gaze up towards the sky or down to the floor to release your neck. If and only if it's in your practice and you feel warm enough to fully go into this pose, grabbing your left foot with right hand. There's the option to do that, but also just to stay here, finding more length in both sides of your body. Taking one more breath here, thinking of finding any more length on the exhale. And on inhale to come back through center. Now walking your fingers out towards the right. Inhale your left arm up overhead, dialing open your chest. Maybe finding a bend in your right arm, driving left hip bone down into the floor. Keeping energy through both feet, not allowing them to fall forward, keeping your toes pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Take one more breath here. Exhale to release a little bit more. And on an inhale, coming back up through center. Again, finding both hands in front of you. Slowly starting to walk fingers in front of you, only until you feel your hips coming off the ground, as if you would need to start rounding your back in order to maintain the pose. Dial open your chest. You take another inhale. And exhale to fold forward onto elbows or rounding your back onto blocks or pillows or anything that feels good in this pose. Maybe coming down all the way to the floor if it's in your practice. Thinking of reaching for your feet. Or staying on elbows, hands, or blocks. Eventually bringing weight back into your hands and walking yourself back up to center. Using your arms to bring your legs back together. Allow them to release forward for a moment, maybe shaking them out a bit. Allowing yourself to feel the effect of that stretch. And when you're ready, swinging your feet around, coming back into tabletop pose. We're going to set up for supported child's pose. So taking bolster or some blocks and blankets, pillows, whatever you have to build this up as high as you'd like. Finding your knees slightly wider to the edges of your mat and folding over the bolster. Finding release in this pose. Trying to let everything go. Again, maybe noticing how your breathing changes in this pose. You feel your belly expanding between your legs on the inhale. You find a little bit more release on your exhale. Maybe you allow eyes to close. Arms can stay out in front of you or come to to your sides as an embryo pose. If your head is turned to one side, eventually coming to turn it towards the other. You release your shoulders, your middle back, your lower back, your hips, knees, and ankles into the floor a little bit more. Stay here as long as you want, but when you're ready to move, bring weight into your hands to walk yourself back up to a seated pose. Coming to shift weight off of your heels, swinging your legs around, we're going to come into a supported side body stretch. So for this, you're going to need a pillow, 1 or 2 pillows, maybe a stack of blankets or a block. Essentially, you want to find one bolster or pillow right on next to your left hip and allow your body to relax over that, and then finding another pillow or stack of blankets to support your head. If this feels too much on your left arm, if there's too much weight in that arm, maybe shifting a little bit back onto your left shoulder blade and opening your chest there. Eventually taking right arm up overhead. Finding length in the right side body, finding a position here that feels good to you. You're paying attention to your breath, expanding through your right side body. You find even more length between right hip and right shoulder. Take one more inhale. And on an exhale, bring your right hand to meet your left, bending both knees. And open your right arm and reclined twist here. Maybe supporting the arm on something that likely won't reach the ground because you're elevated here. The option to take it to goalposts or a T or down to more of a Shavasana arm. We'll only be here for a few breaths. Just finding a little bit of a counter pose here. Eventually on an inhale, bringing right arm back over to meet the left. Take a moment and roll over onto your other side and set up the pose on your left side, finding your right hip point right next to the bolster pillow and allowing yourself to fold over it. Finding your head supported. And eventually left arm overhead. Right leg maybe finding a little bit more length. You breathe into this pose. Finding length in left side body. Keeping breath deep and full. Eventually taking one more inhale and exhale to bring left arm to right. And eventually opening your left arm into a twist. Your arm likely won't even get close to reaching the ground. Find a position of your arm that feels comfortable, maybe supporting it on pillows or blocks. And bring it to goalpost or a T or into Shavasana arms closer to your sides. And just stay there for a few more breaths. Eventually bringing left hand back to right. Shift off of any props and release them out from under you. Putting them off to the side of your mat and eventually coming to lay down on your back. Knees pointing up to the sky. Back relaxed. Take one more time to maybe hug knees into your chest. Maybe thinking a wider leg child's pose on your back here, taking knees open wide, toes together. Maybe if it feels good to you, taking a happy baby, maybe shifting from one side to the other. Taking any more movement here that feels good to you. And eventually in your own time, coming to find Shavasana, laying down on your back. Let your knees fall open and your palms face up. Maybe lifting your shoulder blades off the floor and releasing them back, scooping them under your back to find more opening in your chest. We're going to be here for a while, doing a short yoga nidra practice. If this pose doesn't feel awesome for you right now, finding any other supported, relaxed pose. The only guideline for what pose you're in is that you need to be able to completely relax. When you're ready, allowing your eyes to close. Welcome to Yoga Nidra. Please lie down, close your eyes, and prepare to relax. Give yourself a few breaths out your mouth and tell your body, mind, and heart to let go. If there's any way that you can prepare to relax deeper or more effectively, please do that now. As we go through the process of Yoga Nidra, I invite you to welcome anything and everything that comes into your awareness. From this point on and through the duration of our Yoga Nidra practice, abandon all assessment of things and become the observer only. Consider your intention or purpose for practicing Yoga Nidra. In your own mind, repeat, my intention for practicing Yoga Nidra is, and fill in the blank in your own head. Again, what is your intention for practicing Yoga Nidra? Repeat that to yourself in your own mind one more time. Now I invite you to relax 10% more than you're currently relaxed. Relax your face, relax your entire head, relax your arms, your chest, belly, and back. Relax your pelvis and your legs. As we go through this process, don't try and control your experience. Simply pay attention to my words and welcome, recognize, and witness everything that comes into your awareness without the need to change or fix anything. Today, we are going to explore sensations and feelings in our body to practice experiencing ourselves as awareness. Begin by noticing everything you are aware of in this moment. Notice sounds, smells, the temperature, etc. Notice also emotions, thoughts, and internal sensations. Simply welcome, recognize, and witness everything in your awareness without any judgment, just awareness. Begin to identify as awareness itself. Awareness manifesting itself in the form of body, thoughts, emotions, sounds, or anything you are aware of in this moment. Simply allow yourself to welcome, recognize, and witness all things as a way of experiencing yourself as awareness. Remember that sensations will come and go and will reveal your underlying awareness. Be awareness itself. As awareness, experience yourself as sensation. Follow my words as you become more aware of your body, and as awareness, allow yourself to become increasingly more relaxed. Bring your awareness to the sensation of your mouth. Simply notice its presence. Welcome, recognize, and witness the sensation of your mouth, eyes, ears, entire face, entire head. Now feel the sensation of your neck and throat, your shoulder, arms. Feel your left arm as sensation, top to bottom. Feel your right arm, top to bottom. Left arm, right arm. Feel both arms as sensation. Feel both arms at the same time. Bring awareness to the sensation of your trunk, your chest. Feel your breathing, your belly, your back. Simply welcome and recognize and witness the sensation of your trunk. Simply notice its presence as awareness. Now bring awareness to the sensations of your pelvis, the front, back, and sides of your pelvis. Simply notice it as sensation. Simply welcome, recognize, and witness anything that arises spontaneously, such as thought, emotion, or sensation. Bring awareness to the sensation of your legs. Feel your left leg, hip to toes. Feel your right leg, hip to toes. Left leg, right leg, left, right. Now feel both legs as sensation. Now feel the entire left side of your body, head to toe. Feel the entire right side of your body, head to toe. Left side, right side. Now feel both sides of your entire body. Begin to feel as if your entire body is very large. Now adopt the feeling of being very small, very large again. Now small. Now adopt the feeling of being both large and small simultaneously. This does not need to make sense. Simply feel both large and small simultaneously. What are you aware of in this moment? Sensations will come and go. In one moment you may feel small and another large. What is the part of you that can be both small and large? Sensations reveal your unchanging underlying awareness. Be awareness itself. Become extremely aware of all things in this moment as awareness itself. Simply recognize, welcome, and witness all things in this moment as awareness itself. As awareness, I invite you to begin to feel your body lying on the floor. Feel the sensations of your legs, feet, pelvis, trunk, arms, and head. As awareness, become acutely aware of the sensations in your hands and feet. Now I invite you to remember your stated intention for practicing Yoga Nidra. In a moment, we will be ending our Yoga Nidra practice. Because we have practiced experiencing ourselves as deep awareness, you will find yourself moving back into everyday life with clarity, purpose, and focus. You will find answers to your questions and presence in your relationships. You'll be more compassionate, you will feel less stress in your life and less reactive to stress. Throughout our practice of experiencing ourselves as awareness, you will feel richer and more vibrant. When you're ready, start to deepen your breath. Invite small movement back into your body, wiggling toes and fingers, maybe circling wrists and ankles. Maybe shifting your head back and forth, side to side, massaging your skull against the floor, shaking your head no. And if it feels good to you, maybe taking a full body stretch. When you're ready, coming to roll onto your right side, using your right arm as a pillow. In this moment on your right side, I invite you to reflect back on your practice. And also to take a moment of gratitude to yourself for showing up on your mat this evening, for your body, for taking you through this practice, and for this practice itself and all that it has to offer us on and off the mat. When you feel ready, pressing into your left hand and coming up to a comfortable seat. You can bring your hands to your lap, or if you'd like to join me, bringing hands to heart center. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is of life, of truth, of light, and of peace. When you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we are one. If you'd like to join me, bring thumb knuckles up to third eye center. We'll seal this practice with a blessing of namaste. Namaste. Thank you for your practice.